whether it's the poverty or the corruption or the decay in everything. This constitution is the reason we are where we are, including everything you can point, every single thing you can point. And so, what needs to happen now? Address the concern when they say concern of particular concern. What is the concern of the youth in our subregion? That concern is terror that is breeding in our place that will come to them as in a matter of time. That terror can go to Europe. That terror can go everywhere. And if it comes to where that terror now collapses Nigeria, 230 million people will be looking for where to run to. Who in West Africa can receive even 10 million? Our neighbors all the way to Ghana cannot receive even 10 million. The rest will face every direction. And then the terror networks will then have them because there will be nobody in control. The terror networks will move in and we have Afghanistan times 10 in our hands. That's what we are risking. And so what needs to happen in this time window is for the government of Nigeria, is for those who might suffer if these things snap or come to where the U.S. is now coming to stop the source of that terror that will come to them. What needs to happen is an announcement covering those 5 points of opposition. The government must now agree with us, with the with the owners of Nigeria, that the unified constitution of Nigeria is the source of all the problems. The government must now commit to solving that problem by the commission of that constitution. The government must know we can go to another election because we know that the election will swear to defend and uphold this constitution. So we're back to where we are. And so that's item 3 they have to cover, that we're not going to another election under this constitution. Then item 4 is that for the first time, there will be a meeting of the owners of the sovereignty. They were not consulted in 1914. They were not consulted in 1999. All of what happened between 1914, whether you're talking about 1922 or 1946 or 1954 of Richardson and Macpherson and all those constitutions we saw, none of them came from the people. Even the so-called independence constitution and the one of 1963. For the ones who say, oh, let's go back to 1963. 1963 was only an amendment to 1960. For those who have been telling us that if only we went back there, all will be well. It was a parliament action. Constitutions are not made by parliament. And so it is accept that we have not made any constitution. The one that was imposed by decree is the source of all our problems, every one of them. Secondly, that we have to decommission it now. So that we can to another election under this constitution. That's what the time frame to it that will come within the demand of what has happened now. The fourth is that it's a two-stage process. The two-stage process of how to rework the constitution. It's not the booklet that we are talking about. It is the union agreement. Ijo in Ijo land, discussing with Yoruba that owns Yoruba land, and the Birom that owns Birom land, and the Edo that owns Edo land, and Igbo that owns Igbo land. All of the parchments of lands that are aggregated and considered into the Nigerian Union. It is the peoples of those territories who could have been countries of their own. Yoruba would be a country of 60 million, 70 million people today. If Nigeria was not occupying their space and ruining their lives, look at what's going on in Kwara. The eastern side, Ijo and Oni and Danang and Efik can agree to be by themselves or to be with Igbo. Let it be their decision. That's what their sovereignty that is inalienable entitles them to. And that is the case all the way to what the UN says about what is available. The UN, describes the situation to say you are entitled to be your ancestral space. If anybody to do union with them, that person has to agree with you and you agree with the person. If you can't agree, then everybody will have to find a way to adjust himself. You can't come and impose yourself on the person in his own ancestral space. Scots in Scotland, Catalans in Catalonia, and the ones in Quebec, that's what it is universally. It's only in Nigeria that British will come and lock together civilizations that are opposed inconceivably. The civilization that requires somebody kill me as Peter, the ones doing Sharia. The civilization that allows him to tell me lies, Akiya, whereas I'm to tell the truth. I forbid killing in my space. I can't spill man blood in my space. My tradition forbids it. The religion that came, Christianity, forbids it. But the people you are dealing with in the union of Nigeria, that's not our union until we discuss it and discuss our union, and we make it a union of life. It's just an imposition on us. They are holding us at gunpoint in the union of gunpoint. Who's going to stand for that now? Assuming that there's a state that is coming to all of us. Not to be the basis of mobilization. Because everybody is already looking for how to save themselves from that Nigeria. 3/4 of people who want to mobilize will actually do whatever it will take to put that Nigeria to death, including me. If it is Nigeria defined by this constitution, whatever it will take to bring down that unity in Nigeria is what I'm prepared to do and do 10 again. And that's what most people who know what the problem is. If I'm not talking about Nigeria the Federation. If it is Nigeria the Federation that we have to restore today, I'll be on the construction side. But if it is the Nigeria of unitary Nigeria and people swear to defend and oppose this abomination, 4 years will pass, another 4 years will pass. We've been doing so several times since 1999. Why can't that sanity return to a people so that we can continue like this? Let us stop and fix what has gone wrong. The ones that are in Abuja and the governors who go to join them every day, the ones who are standing in the way of these 230 million people who are ignorant, they've impoverished them so much that they can't think straight anymore. There's no you can do with the kind of thing they don't. They've divided everybody up, and they're planning an election in 2027 under the thing where those parties will go to. Let me see where they will be in another 2 months from now. So your question, what are they to do? That's an announcement that South Africa made in 1990 to say that the apartheid system can no longer carry their society, and therefore they were going to go into a meeting to discuss, which became today's. The fifth item I listed for, the fifth item is a time-bound announcement. That announcement by whoever is claiming the government of Nigeria to say that we will go to solve this problem. That is the only thing that is going to make sense to anybody in Washington right now. Someone said, go do it yourself or they're on their way. They already mobilized. They mobilized before Biden came to disrupt everything. And so we must use this window. We are not, this matter goes beyond government. The people who will suffer, because if it becomes a shooting and missile, a lot of things are going to be disrupted. And to be sure that the U.S. may have its own objectives beyond what it is. But we have an opportunity to get at all of that now. This is not the time for Tinubu to begin to go to look for ban. Go to tell ban that people are not being killed, but that we can enjoy it. It's not the matter for anything short of committing to removing the source of the problem. This is the source of the problem. It's not the one you send the head supposed to go and bring one more person, or the head of us to go and a few bandits and begin to make a social of it.
All right.
The source of this problem.
That's right. We need to take a break. Mr. Nnadi, we need to take a break. Your connection isn't so great. We need to take a break, so we'll try to sort that out so we can see you. Because obviously now we're not seeing you, but we're hearing your voice. We'll take a break here on the Eastern. When we return, we'll continue the conversation with Tony Nnadi. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. I still have Mr. Tony Nnadi on the line from Lagos. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So let's, there has to be a way to deal with this. I've looked around and there seem to be statements flying left, right, and center from those in government and those outside of government. How do you think that some of those statements, some of them highly inflammable, and some of them, I don't know what to say, some of them are outrightly threatening the U.S. If they attempt to invade Nigeria? I don't know what you make of some of the statements you've seen in the last 48 hours from some Nigerians.
They are ignorant people. They are ignorant and dishonest people, but mostly ignorant. The ones who know a little are being dishonest. And charlatans like Gumi that say we should cut off relations. Gumi that is the one organizing the terror. He's telling the rest of us to cut off relationship with United States. Is that the kind of thing we should be listening to? Or the one that says, you know, what have we not heard from people who can, I don't even know how to describe the kind of thinking that is going on in their midst. We saw the National Assembly people already talking about sending delegation that will go and lobby colleagues when Ted Cruz and co were still talking about accountability law, you know, for Nigeria. And so they don't know what they are talking about. The person speaking with you now is an inner part of the process that became CPC in 2020. From the first to the last, what was the complaint, what was going to be done. The US had the discipline to listen for 7 whole months. From where we were trying to describe the problem to them to where they now have to invite the victims. I'm sure you saw when the mother of Leah Sharibu had all kinds of people, victims of the South Dara Kingdom, people that were, you know, all those they could find. The US government invited them. I only saw them in Washington when I got there because we had come to raise their alarm and we had told them what could be done. And they felt that because it was their national security, their #1 national security challenge at the time, before COVID came later. At the time, it was what with the terror networks of the Middle East that were now converging in the West African sub-region with Nigeria as the hub. And so this president that is here now was the one that, you know, brokered the coming of the Buhari that now opened the borders to bring all of them in the numbers they saw. And so that's fallen on him. That is the principle. If it has fallen on him to deal with this matter, this is not the time to send characters like Bayo Ononuga to begin to talk. This situation is above all those who have been talking trash. We know what the problem is. We have discussed it with the people who are now telling them what must happen because they are endangering the security of many countries. In fact, in that report of Agnes Kalamat, the rapporteur mission of UN that came to declare Nigeria's constitution pressure cooker for injustice. So today, it is that constitution that is the reason it turned this upside down because it's the constitution that took the oil and gas. There's nothing you're going to do to restore this is what they say resource control. There's nothing you're going to do to bring resource under the control of the just owner. There's nothing you're going to do about security. If my security is in the hands of those who are going to eliminate me, that's what we're living with. If my infrastructure is in the hands of those who plan to decimate me, that's what we're living with. If my electoral process is in the hands of those who are interested in selecting, look at what has happened everywhere. The kind of people that they're bringing about. And so they go to the judicial side. Look at what the Supreme Court did to the election and all of what the Constitution stated that happened. Governments abandoned the Constitution even in the limited toleration we were sending to the sake of peace so that we can get to where we're discussing this matter around the table. So everything is gone. And what has to happen now is those who are in that danger because if you allow Femi from America to be speaking for you to say, oh, America can take us on, we will fight you to the end. Who are the we? I asked Femi from America, who is that we that we are talking about? If we cannot define the union of Nigeria to be our union, today is not our union. So we cannot be talking about we that will go and fight anybody that is coming. Let us define the we as can fit into the preamble to your constitution. So it will be we that include, not the we that will be and those who come together, the governors that come together to say, those who swear to defend this constitution, those who are contesting the election, those who are contesting the election under this constitution. The dividing line, if this matter comes to rightful show, the dividing line will be those on the side of that constitution and those on the side of taking it down. Everything will not count. Anybody who can be counted to the side of the constitution will be treated as a fool and a head, including presidential candidates, including everybody. It is this constitution that is endangering the whole world.
That is why 230 million people have become nuisance to everybody everywhere in the world. Look at the number of young people trying to escape from Nigeria. What is chasing their country as defined by this constitution? So all of those go to swear to defend and oppose this constitution to hold power and begin to share the blood of people every month and be leading GDP to us. And those who are planning to go to replace them, they are together. There's no difference between APC or PDP or Labour Party. Let anybody who knows how to find Peter tell him. Let anybody who knows how to find him. Let anybody who knows how to find anybody else who is saying he wants to come and replace those in government house. By which constitution are you going to provide anything different? We have 36 states that were imposed. 774 local government areas that were imposed. We have 812 governments we have to finance. Where will the money to give anything to the citizen come from? A union of 5 institutions, a union of 5 governments that was working well. Emma Bara doing well in the east, Awolowo was doing well in the west, and Mubarak doing well in where he was. Midwest came, were all doing well because they owned their lands, they owned their resources, they owned the power to work out those resources. That was why Eastern Region built Oji River. Oji River power plant was where the power source came to build for that cause. It was Emma that built Transamadi with the electricity from Oji River before I came. Why did we abandon what to bring us into the 20th century? We begin to go back to the 15th century with the people who are not going anywhere. Why can't we stand together and say this union must be our union, or we resolve it so that those who want to move with the rest of the world can move in their own direction? But now we are all locked down, starting to 68 places, and people who have education are going all over the place to say we'll manage. And the young people are running in every direction, crossing the Dutch with the left, swimming to pass the Mediterranean Sea, and you don't